Mr Acting President, on Sunday the 16th of February 2025, the Malinauskas government announced, standing alongside One Nation and the Honourable Connie Benares, that the state had secured the rights to continue hosting the Live Golf tournament until 2031. The Premier also announced that the North Adelaide Golf Course would be redesigned by former professional golfer and Live Golf founding commissioner Greg Norman, and that the tournament would be relocated there in 2028. I understand from media reports that the Honourable Connie Benares and the Honourable Sarah Gain have pledged to support any backup legislation that might be required to enable the redevelopment of the site. I have asked questions in this place about what the backup legislation might look like, or indeed what legislative changes might be required to achieve this redevelopment. I still do not know what legislative change the government has in its contemplation, and indeed I reiterate my calls for them to release any draft legislation that they are considering so that members of the community can form a view. During the announcement, the Premier stated that the government had not reached a final figure on the cost of the North Adelaide upgrade and said the configuration of the new course was still being decided. It was reported in the Advertiser on the 1st of March that a redevelopment proposal for the North Adelaide Golf Course, developed back in 2018 by the Council, had been put online, and the plan costed a potential redevelopment at tens of millions of dollars. The planned development proposed the removal of trees to redesign holes. South Australia's first Christian mission for Aboriginal people and a school to teach Kaurna language was established in the late 1830s and is located at the current Par 3 course. And I understand from media reports that the initial plans placed a mini golf course which was made public over the two sacred sites. Kaurna elder Auntie Lynette Crocker has labelled the redevelopment proposal as outlandish and said that there should have been consultation with the Kaurna community prior to the public announcement. The Adelaide City Council, which both owns and manages the North Adelaide Golf Course, has been calling on the state government to sign a long-term lease for the course and pay for all of the costs associated with redevelopment whilst continuing to have oversight. Indeed, Adelaide Lord Mayor Dr Jane Lomax-Smith has stated, importantly, we want income streams, and we're mindful very often when the government takes activities, we lose an income stream. We don't get any benefit from car racing, any benefit from the Adelaide Oval, or indeed the Aquatic Centre. Many in the community are concerned about the secrecy around this proposal and have a number of questions around what the development might look like. Indeed, I attended a public meeting hosted by the Adelaide Parklands Association on the weekend where serious questions were asked about this redevelopment. How many trees will be lost? Will there be guaranteed public access as part of this new development? Now, the Greens' position on Live Golf is well known. Indeed, my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, has spoken at length in this place about Live Golf and the odious human rights record of the Saudi government. And that was a view also shared by the previous opposition leader as well, who was also a vocal critic of Live Golf plans. But this motion speaks to another issue, and that is the business case. What is the business case for this proposal? How much government money will potentially be sought for this proposal? Are there any documents associated with that? This motion calls on the Malinauskas government to make that public. Now, we know that the Malinauskas government has form when it comes to secret business cases. Indeed, this is a government that promised $500 million for a university merger on the basis of a confidential business case. The government offered up the money, and according to the Premier's own admission, he hadn't even seen the business case. So they've got form when it comes to signing on sight unseen. But we in this place need to do our due diligence And so this motion is calling for any business case in relation to the redevelopment to be made public, any of the associated documents to be made public, so that the people of South Australia have an opportunity to form a view on this proposal, and so that we can have an informed debate. I know the government might have their backup plan in some members of the crossbench, but it is really important that we as a parliament do our due diligence.